5 episodes into season 3 of Twin Peaks, and we are still wondering what the hell is going on. Dougie is with his wife, Janie E., and still completely blank about ever being Agent Cooper. And nobody around him has really identified yet that Dougie's got some serious problems. Everybody just keeps going along with it. It does make you wonder what Dougie was actually like before Agent Cooper took over his body. We did get one hint to this when we first met Dougie, and his arm is numb. And Jade asks him about his arm. If your arm becomes completely numb, it's usually a sign that you're having a heart attack. It's not something that people take lightly. But Dougie really could have cared less that his arm was numb. He didn't think anything of it. He just completely blew it off. So the fact that people aren't noticing how infantile Dougie is acting since Agent Cooper entered his body, there may be a good reason for this. Dougie may be a bit of a moron. It's interesting, this infantile state that we keep finding Dougie Agent Cooper in. If we go back to, more specifically, the very first season of Twin Peaks, one of the characteristics we see in Agent Cooper is he's a child at heart. Agent Cooper spends the first few episodes in Twin Peaks really amazed about the nature that is around him. He has lots of questions about it. He's amazed at the trees. He has to find out what these trees are. And there's even a scene in the second or third episode where he's talking to Diane, and he says that he still wants to know what was Marilyn's relationship with the Kennedys and who really pulled the trigger on JFK. And then we get this reinforced through his love of food, that no matter what's going on around him, when Agent Cooper sits down to eat some pie, the pie in front of him is the most important thing in his life, and everything else can wait. So we see that this infantile type state that we find Dougie in, now that Agent Cooper has entered his body, it kind of relates to Agent Cooper. It's kind of really emphasizing a certain part of Cooper's personality. The most interesting place that we see this in episode 5, and it's really touching, is when Dougie's walking out of the house with Janie E. for work, and he sees their son waiting for them in the car. And the son is sad. He's maybe not sad at the most. He lacks he's indifferent. He's very indifferent sitting in that car. And here we have a young boy who should be full of curiosity and excitement towards the world, and he has none of it. And this really affects Cooper. A tear starts to roll down Cooper's cheek. So he's really very emotionally connected to this boy, even though he doesn't really know who he is. And he's sad for the lack of childish excitement that this boy lacks. And again, this connects to Cooper, who really held on to that childhood excitement throughout his life. Now, beyond this, in episode 5, we did see more of the real Cooper coming out of Dougie. Janie E. Takes him to work and drops him off. The first thing we see Dougie do is become distracted by the statue of a soldier outside of his work. He's mostly distracted by the fact that the soldier is pointing a gun. He then goes into work. He has no idea where he's going, and they did a great job of getting him into the office. How are they going to get Dougie into this office when he has no idea where he's going or what he's supposed to be doing? Coffee. He runs into a coworker who has coffees and obviously recognizes Dougie. And it's not that Dougie follows his coworker up to the office. He follows the smell of coffee. Once Dougie's in the elevator with his coworker and he has a coffee and drinks it, only by repeating the coworker's line, we get another classic Agent Cooper line as he exclaims, "Damn good Joe." He's in the meeting. All he really cares about is drinking the coffee through most of it. They have to tell him to sit down. It's a whole rigmarole. But in this meeting, something else interesting happens, but it's hard for us to comment on, which is as Tony is talking about one of the current insurance claims, we see a green light appear on his face. It's hard to see it here. In the moving clip, it kind of moves on his face, and so it's noticeable. It's hard to notice in the screenshot of this scene. But he has a green light on his face, and Dougie announces he's lying about the current case that he's talking about. So this causes a big uproar. Dougie's dragged into his boss's office, and his boss lets him know, you need to straighten up or get out. He gives Dougie a bunch of case files to look over, and the only thing Dougie really picks up on in this whole meeting is case files and agent. And these things stick in Dougie's head. He knows there's something familiar about this. So we see Agent Cooper starting to have a conscious mind within Dougie. He's attracted to the word agent. He's attracted to the word case files. And then at the end, when Dougie leaves work, he once again is completely distracted by the statue. But even more interestingly this time, when he first sees it walking into work, we see he's almost in amazement of the statue. He just kind of stares at it, almost like a child would. And when we see him walk out after work, at first, this is how he's looking at it. But after he spends some time there, Dougie starts to investigate the statue. He starts to look at it and examine it, trying to figure out maybe why he's attached to it or exactly what the statue is. But either way, no matter what he's trying to figure out, we see Agent Cooper starting to take consciousness in Dougie's mind as we see him investigate, examine what this statue actually is. So I don't think it will be too much longer until we see Agent Cooper actually become conscious within Dougie. We certainly saw the first signs of it in this 5th episode. Okay, beyond this, with Dougie, the other information we get is with his car and the thugs that planted a bomb under it and are just waiting for him to finally come out of the house and get into the car. Remember in the first episode, or I think it was the second episode, I forget because they ran those together, but Dougie leaves with Jade, and the thugs trying to kill him miss that he left the house because he bends down to pick up the key to the Great Northern Hotel. So as far as they're concerned, he's still in that house. They're waiting for him to come out, get in his car, have it blow up, and Dougie's dead. Their mission is accomplished. As they're looking to see if the car's blown up yet, they check in with somebody. They check in with Lorraine. And Lorraine is extremely nervous that Dougie has not been killed yet. She has obviously been hired by somebody, or her boss has told her to make sure that Dougie's killed. When she gets the news that Dougie isn't killed, a very strange thing happens. She sends a text. The text reads, Argent, and then on the next line below is the number 2. She sends the text. We go to a mysterious place with a light bulb and this black box. The black box has 2 lights on it. They blink twice and the scene's over. No idea what the black box is, but Lorraine is connected to killing Dougie, and Lorraine has somebody that she's reporting to who wants to make sure that Dougie's killed. We get 2 small updates on the murder investigation into Ruth Davenport in Buckhorn. They are still trying to identify the body in the bed, which we have identified as Agent Garland Briggs, and they find a ring in the body of the stomach. Candace tells Don and Dave that she has really no information about the death of the body. Her guess at the cause of death is body has no head. She does have information for them, which is that she found a ring in his stomach, and we see that the ring is to Dougie from Janie E., Dougie's wife. How Dougie's ring got into this body is very mysterious. Remember, Dougie and Janie E. are in Las Vegas. Ruth Davenport was murdered in Buckhorn, South Carolina. So they're separated by an extreme amount of distance, but yet the ring was found in that stomach. Towards the end of the episode, we see a shot in the Pentagon and someone reporting that they have once again gotten a hit on Major Garland Briggs's fingerprints. She informs her superior that the hits on Garland Briggs have come from Buckhorn, South Carolina. There's some comments that they've had 16 hits for his fingerprints over the past 25 years. Apparently they've all been wild goose chases, but at the end they throw in that if this is not a wild goose chase, if this hit is really from Major Garland Briggs's fingerprints, that they are absolutely going to have to inform the FBI. And we can conclude that this is all connected to Blue Rose. In Twin Peaks, we get a couple new characters introduced to us. We meet Steve, who is apparently a big loser. We find out that Steve is the boyfriend of Becky, and Becky is the daughter to Shelley. Looks like there's going to be trouble for Steve and Becky. It doesn't look like there's anything good coming into their lives. Certainly, Becky is reminiscent of Laura Palmer, a beautiful young blonde girl who is mixed up with a bad boy and already into using hardcore drugs at her age. This is the only thing we got on these two. We got a bit of an answer with Dr. Jacoby and his golden shovels. We see that he is Dr. Amp on the air, conspiracy theorist. Really, he was just yelling about a bunch of generic stuff. I don't think he It's a completely generic type presentation. He has no real point to be made except to buy his golden shovels to shovel your way out of the shit and into happiness. Really, really great reveal as to what these golden shovels were. I have to be honest, I was really curious, what are these golden shovels about? I didn't know if they meant something, but it's just apparently a bunch of nonsense with Dr. Jacoby trying to make some money by selling these golden shovels to bring happiness into people's lives. Another character we were introduced to in Twin Peaks, we did not get his name, but he is a sick person. It was a really intense scene. He was in the Bang Bang bar smoking when he shouldn't be smoking, right in front of the no smoking sign, as he's a big rebel. And we find out that he's making a deal with one of the bouncers. We're not even sure what the deal is for. Imagine it would have to be some kind of drug deal. That's what it looked like. And then there's a scene with him and the girls in the booth across from him where he really comes across as a sicko. Reminds us of Bob, and that's all we get. He is scary. He definitely puts fear into the girls. And he looks like an evil guy. I mean, he looks evil. Possibly brings up the question, is Bob in this guy? Is this where Bob is? He certainly was acting a lot like Bob. But we know that he's not, because we see that Bob is still with Doppelganger Cooper. Now, Bob joined Doppelganger Cooper at the end of season 2. As soon as Doppelganger Cooper switched places with the real Cooper, leaving the real Cooper in the Black Lodge, Doppelganger Cooper had Bob inside him. In the season finale of season 2 of Twin Peaks, we see Agent Cooper look into the mirror in the bathroom and see Bob in the reflection. And we see this bit, they replay it for us, when Doppelganger Cooper is in jail and looking into the mirror. They go through a quick little flashbacks of season 2 and how Bob and the doppelganger teamed up together. But we don't see Bob in the reflection of the jail mirror. We do see Agent Cooper's face become a bit distorted, and we see with his words he confirms, "You are still with me." And he's glad that he's still with him. I think I know why we didn't see Bob in the mirror. And that is because the actor who played Bob did die. So they may make somebody else to look up like Bob, and we may see Bob in the future. But I don't know. I think if they were going to show him, they would have showed him right there when Doppelganger Cooper was looking into the mirror, and we didn't see him. We just saw, again, Agent Cooper's face kind of get distorted as he was looking in the mirror to signify that Bob is within him. So a kind of a disappointing part of Twin Peaks Season 3. We may not actually see Bob again. We may only see him through flashbacks. But now this by far was not the most interesting part of Doppelganger Cooper. We pick up with Doppelganger Cooper right where we left off. We left off with the FBI leaving their interview with him, letting Warden Murphy know to give Cooper his one private phone call and to make sure they listen to it. Doppelganger Cooper gets his phone call. Warden Murphy and everybody get in the room ready to watch him. And right away, Doppelganger Cooper lets them know, "I know you're watching me." And he asks, "Should I call Mr. Strawberry?" Now, there is a huge reaction in Warden Murphy when Doppelganger says, "Should I call Mr. Strawberry?" Warden Murphy gets very nervous. Then he says, no. Mr. Strawberry isn't taking calls. I know who to call. Does this bizarre, he goes nutso on the numbers on the telephone, hitting them very quickly. There's a disruption in electricity in the prison. Nobody knows what's going on. An alarm is going off. We hear Doppelganger Cooper say the cow has jumped over the moon. He hangs up the phone. Everything in the prison goes back to normal. Then we cut to the black box from the beginning, and it shrinks into, I don't know, it didn't resemble the gold ball we saw earlier. It didn't resemble the ring. It seemed to be this new type of shape, this new type of material. Really just clueless as to what that was about. The only information we get about the box is that it was in Argentina. And now this connects the text that Lorraine sent earlier to the black box. Her text was ARGENT. It's the beginning of Argentina. I don't know what the two's about. The box did beep twice, but I don't know. And that was Doppelganger Cooper's phone call. So what did he do with the phone, with the buttons? How was he able to do that? It leaves the warden begging the question, what did this guy just do? What Doppelganger Cooper did was manipulate electricity. The people in the Black Lodge, they move through electricity. They're able to use electricity to cross in between dimensions or worlds or travel within our dimension. This is how Doppelganger Cooper was able to do this with the phone. How he was able to take over the entire prison system, make a phone call to some mysterious place, and all this and whatnot. He does have the ability to use electricity for his benefit. And that was what we got in episode 5. I hope you liked the video. If you did, don't be afraid to go ahead and give it a like. If you want to make sure that you get all the videos I upload on Twin Peaks, including the Fire Walk with Me and Missing Pieces videos, go ahead, subscribe, and ding the bell. You will be alerted every time I upload a video. If you know anybody else who loves Twin Peaks, go ahead and share the video with them. It will give you something to talk about. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.